This song is about being in a relationship with someone that's incredibly narcissistic, gaslighting, lots of ups and downs, pushing and pulling, and walking on eggshells.
Happy Tuesday, marriage hackers.
Happy Tuesday.
Okay. Have you ever felt like you're constantly questioning your own reality, doubting your memories, or feeling confused about events in your marriage? These could be signs of gaslighting, a subtle but deeply harmful form of manipulation that can erode trust and self-confidence in a relationship. Stay with us as we do a deep probe into this very troubling trap used by people who we refer to as narcissists to control and manipulate.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Marriage Hacks with Joseph
And Miriam.
with real talk
Real solutions.
for a healthy, thriving marriage. All right, so what exactly is gaslighting? Okay, the definition of gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation in which someone seeks to make another person doubt their perceptions, memories, or reality. It often involves denial, contradiction, or misleading information to confuse and undermine the victim's confidence in their own judgment. And now we're going to go to our scriptures, and Miriam is going to read our first scripture.
Oh, it's a couple of scriptures.
Yeah, it's Genesis 3:1-4.
Okay. The Bible does not explicitly use the word gaslighting, but there are examples of deceit, manipulation, and efforts to distort reality, which align with the concept of gaslighting. Here are some examples. Genesis 3:1-5 in the King James Version. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree in the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat the fruit of all the trees that are in the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Yea, you shall not surely die. For God doesn't want you, for doth God know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes will be opened, and ye shall be like gods, knowing good and evil. All right, in Genesis 3:1-5, the serpent and Eve. The serpent deceives Eve by twisting God's words and making her doubt what God said. Did God say you must not eat from any tree in the garden? This manipulative question causes Eve to second guess herself and God's command, leading her to be disobedient.
All right, so now we're going to go into the second scripture. Now this is Job. One of Job's friends is gaslighting him. All right, so it says, this is Job 4:7-9, King James. It says, Remember, pray thee, whoever perished being innocent. So his friends asking the question, whoever perished,
Whoever died.
died being innocent, Or where were the righteous cut off? Even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. By the blast of God, they perish. They perish. And by the breath of his nostrils are they consumed. Listen to his friend. That's supposed to be his friend, y'all. Mm-hmm. That's supposed to be his friend. Okay, his friend was gaslighting him. So Job's friend, Eliphaz, I think that's how you say his name. Mm-hmm. Subtly, gaslights him by implying that Job's suffering must be his own fault, distorting the reality of Job's innocence. Consider now who being innocent, which this is what the scripture says, consider now who being innocent has ever perished. Where were the upright ever destroyed? Have you ever had a friend like that?
I think we all have.
Yeah, I think we've all experienced this from one time or another, where someone that we trust and consider to be our friend, all of a sudden they cause us to doubt our own reality,
or they play the devil's advocate kind of thing.
Yeah, and so that's what was happening there. Okay, now Miriam, what are you gonna do next?
Okay, here are some examples of gaslighting within a marital context, often used to manipulate, control, or undermine the other partner. Okay, we've got a list of 10. 1. Denying past events. 2. Minimizing your feelings. 3. Blaming the victim. 4. Twisting your words. 5. Withholds information. 6. Pretending to be forgetful. 7. Projecting their faults onto you. 8. Undermining your confidence. 9. Creating doubt about your reality. And 10. Using love as a weapon.
Boy, I think these things are worth us, just talking about just a little bit.
Okay, denying past events. They claim something never happened even when it did. Example, I never said that. You're making that up.
Now, how many of you have experienced that? I have experienced that.
Mm-hmm. We have someone in our immediate family who does that constantly.
I mean, it's like, yes, on a regular basis. And just imagine how frustrating that would be if this was your spouse doing this to you, constantly gaslighting you, constantly causing you to doubt your feelings. Yeah, your feelings.
How you feel.
Yes. Discounting your feelings.
Knowing that something happened, and these type of people, they have a tail. Okay, this particular person that I know of, he has a tail. He does this. He scratches his head and then goes, oh, and then constantly cops an attitude. So, yeah. Okay, these people also minimize your feelings by dismissing or invalidating the emotions that you have, and it makes you feel irrational, like you're overreacting. It's not that big a deal. Oh, Lord, have I heard that one?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they can try to minimize something that is a big deal. They can say,
big deal to you.
Yeah, and it's a big deal to me because that's something. It may be something very important to you or something that you cherish, but to them they'll try to minimize it and try to make it like well, you shouldn't feel this way. Well, you shouldn't. That shouldn't bother you that much, and so.
And then that same person, often the next time you have an argument, they'll flip it on you. And it goes from something he cares about that he feels is important, but you don't. Oh, well, you don't ever agree with me. You don't ever, you what I feel is not important to you. That kind of thing. So they flip it and they become the victim. When you stand there going, oh, wait a minute. And this particular person in our lives, there's been many times I've gone that Joe has come back and told me something that this person has said. And I go, oh, he just played you like a fiddle. And Joe goes, no, Miriam, I think this was coming from his heart and all this. And I go, okay. And then he comes back to me sometime later going, Dad, he did play me. Because these people are subtle. This person handles me in one way and handles Joe in another way. And I caught on to it a long time ago. You ain't handling me, brother. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Blaming the victim. People like this often shift responsibilities for the problem onto you. Example, you're the reason we argue so much. Or if it wasn't for you, or I get it from you. That kind of thing. They're constantly giving reasons why it's your fault instead of taking it on for themselves. Instead of saying, excuse me, yeah, I did it. Because I look at Joe and go, yeah, I did it. Yeah, I said it. I had a situation, this was, we're talking 20 years ago, where there was this woman at church. Her children were all black woman. Her children were always running around looking rough. 2 girls. Hair was never combed. She came to church one day coiffed, boy. I mean, her hair was tight. It was looking good. And I looked at her and I told her, yeah, your hair looks good. And I kept going. And then somebody said, well, why did you say that? I said, well, that same money that she spent on getting her hair done, she need to do something for her children. Got those girls running around here looking like pickaninnies. And not knowing she was behind me when I said it. Now, one thing that people...
Wait a minute, let's pause.
Yeah.
Pickaninnies.
Pickaninnies.
Now, is that a real word, or is that something you made up?
No, that's a real word. That's a real word. But, so I noticed over a while, she wasn't speaking to me. And I was like, okay, it ain't bother me. I meant what I said and I said what I meant. Because anybody that knows me knows I have a thing about young black girls and their hair. Because the Bible says that a woman's hair is her crown. And when you've got daughters, that's one way. Well, even if you're black or white, but I'm talking about as a black woman. I can't stand to see little girls running around and it's obvious that their hair has not been done. And so it was a good 6 months later. She came to me, Miriam, I want to tell you, I've been holding this against you. And I was like, okay, what is it? And she repeated what I said. And my reaction was, yeah, I said it. And I meant it. And so she goes into this long explanation. And I let her give her explanation. And no, it's been 20 years ago. I didn't ask her to forgive me because I meant what I said, because that's a passion of mine. Okay. But if you say something, just admit you said it. Just admit it. Don't play games. You know, the Bible said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Just admit you said it. Okay, that's my rant for this video. Okay.
So what's the next one?
Twisting your words. Interrupting and distorting what is being said to confuse your partner. Example, that's not what I mean at all. You're twisting my words.
Well, you know what? Now there's a natural misunderstanding that takes place from time to time, because there have been times now there was no gaslighting or manipulating involved in it, but it was simply interpretation. Because Miriam was like, well, Joe, you said this, and and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, Miriam, wait a minute. Sometimes Miriam get to talking, and it's hard to stop her. It's like,
You believe that? Yeah.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I said that, but I didn't mean it like that. That's not the way I meant it. This is what I meant, you know. But I can understand with this type personality. See, they will, and see, I didn't get offended because I know Miriam. It was just a honest misinterpretation of what I said. You know, it wasn't that she was trying to gaslight me or anything like that. It's just that she read it the wrong way.
And one thing I think y'all have figured out about me, that once if you've been watching the channel for any amount of time, I'm a very this is it kind of person. I don't like to beat around the bush. And I will look at Joe in a heartbeat, because, you know, God even says, remind me of my word. I'll look at Joe and I said, but you said this, and this. Mm-hmm. And Joe's like, well, that's not the way I meant it. That may not be the way you meant it, but that's what you said.
Mm-hmm. And let me say this too. And this is just you know, the gaslighter. We mentioned that they will manipulate people in their memories. You know, make them think that you forgot something, or you didn't remember it right.
Properly.
Yeah, properly. Now, there's just a natural thing that happens once you get older. Sometimes your memory may not be as sharp. There's some times where I honestly forgot stuff that we've had conversations, and Miriam has to remind me, well, Joe, do you remember? And I'm like,
no.
Well.
And I will literally tell him we were standing here, or we were in the bedroom, or we were on our way to church or something. And he'll go, oh, and I'm like,
And I know, because I trust her, I know that it's not anything to do with gaslighting. It's just that sometimes I forget stuff, and she has to remind me of it, you know. And you know, a lot of, some of it has to do with age, but some of it has to do with, you know, Miriam and I, we have very busy schedules, and we don't get the proper amount of sleep a lot of times.
No, we don't.
That we should. And so because of that, that messes with your memory also when you don't get enough sleep. So it's not all age.
but there's a lot to do with it, y'all.
But some of it does have to do with age. But I do know that when she has to correct me on something, it doesn't have anything to do with gaslighting.
No, not at all. Because that's not our relationship, and I don't see the need to do that.
And so I just want everyone not to take this episode and try to, you know, turn everything into gaslighting.
Because it's not.
Everything is not gaslighting.
No.
And we're gonna later on in this episode, we're gonna listen. Well, we took some things from a video from the doctor. How you say her name again?
I think it was Ramani,
who
we used last week.
The same person we used last week, and so she's gonna really help clarify, you know, what is and what's not gaslighting.
Okay, withholds information, refusing to engage in conversation or pretending not to understand. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. And which one was that one?
That was number 5.
Number 5.
Mm-hmm. Withholding information.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just like that person in our family we were talking about, that's his favorite thing to say when he knows he's caught in a trap. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretending to be forgetful, pretending to forget events or arguments to avoid accountability. Okay, that's another one. I don't remember agreeing to that. I don't know what you're talking about. Those two kind of go together.
Yeah, and when I was listening to Dr. Romani's video, she said that that a gaslighter will cause a person to want to record conversations.
Yep.
Because they're constantly accused, or they're constantly saying, I didn't say that, I don't remember that. And she said that with these people,
Yep.
that if you record a conversation and you play it back, they will become enraged.
Explode, yeah. There's another person on Joe's side of the family that's like that. Ooh, you would catch hell if you did that. And I just look and I go, I remember one particular function we went to, and this person said something off the wall in front of the kids. And I was like, y'all gonna let that pass? I was looking at everybody like, y'all gonna let that pass? And then it's like I got the vibe of that person's just being that person, Miriam, let it go. And I was like, and then when we got into the car, I said it to Joe. Joe protected that person. That's not what they were talking about. That's not what they meant. And then he put the cherry on top and he said, I don't ever want to talk about this again. And my reaction was, oh, okay. You gonna shut me down because what I said and was pointing out was true, and my son was in the back seat going, So I was like, okay, let's go there.
But you know what?
What? You can't even think of what to say.
No. I've come a long way.
Yeah,
baby.
you have with that. You have.
I've come a long way.
Very long way, and I love you for it because you know you didn't want me to slit your throat.
Like
anyway.
yeah, I've come a long way.
Yeah.
Marriage hackers, like marriage hackers. I've come a long way.
Yeah, he has, and I have too, because you know everybody has their issues. But my thing is, I'm a words person. Debbie Rhodes, someone that I speak to all the time, and Annette Romo, a name that you've heard before, they know if Miriam said it, Miriam's going to stick by it, and I'm not going to backpedal. But if I find out I'm wrong, I'll go, I'm wrong. And I will apologize, and I will fix it. And that's another thing that Joe knows about me.
Yeah.
Okay, projects their faults, onto others. They accuse the partners of the very gaslighting behavior that they themselves are guilty of. Like, you're so manipulative, everything has to go your way. When it's really they're manipulating, and they're saying that because they're used to that person giving in to them and questioning themselves about things.
That's a dirty tactic.
It is dirty.
You know, you're going to try to put your wrong on somebody else. What's the next one?
Okay, undermines your confidence. The gaslighter questions your judgment or your abilities. For example, you can't even make a simple decision on your own.
Now, Miriam has said that to me before. out of frustration, because I come there all the time.
Miriam, I'm like, baby, just put some drawers on, okay?
Joe, can't you do this for yourself just this one time? This one time. Can you just do this for yourself?
I haven't said that in a long time
because
I know the answer is no.
I mean, I can't do certain things.
But he don't want to because he knows how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I depend on her to do so much, you know. I mean, like today, I was like Miriam, every time I get a notification about my medication, I said, Miriam, you go pick up my medication.
Oh, the other day he said, and you got to remember to go pick up my medicine. And I'm like, well, Joe, did they contact you? Yeah, I got a notification. I'm going, that's all you had to do was say, get a notification, baby. And I went and picked it up today, along with some other things. But I know my kids even pick at me. The girls, they go, Mama, you just got daddy spoiled. He'll do nothing for himself. Well, that's some things he does for himself. He washes his own clothes. He's been doing that for 10 years now.
Well, she cut us all
I cut him off.
She cut the whole family off. she just all of a sudden, she didn't even wean us off of it. She just all of a sudden, she just said, "Boom! From now on,
you wash your."
Everybody's watching their own clothes."
And the thing is, Joe was like, "Miriam, I think that's a good idea." I went, "Oh, I'm talking to you too," and he went, "Me too." And sometimes on Sundays, he'll grab his clothes basket and he'll go, "I guess I gotta go downstairs and wash my clothes." I went, "Yeah, baby, ain't nothing in there. Knock yourself out." But what led to it, Joe? What led to it?
I don't know. You tell me.
You don't remember?
You tell the marriage hackers what led to it.
No, what it was in 2015, I started running the gym Forever Fit over in Greensboro and getting the gym up on its feet. I was working 16 hours a day. I was in there at 3 o'clock in the morning, cleaning the gym so it could be perfect at 5 o'clock. And then I was not 5 o'clock when it opened, and I wasn't getting home until 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. And the clothes were just piling up higher and higher and higher. So one Saturday, I spent the whole day washing. I washed every stitch and tittle, everything in that laundry room. And when I did, I sent out a nice text. "Y'all are so-and-so years old. You can do this yourself. Mama's got a different schedule. It's on you." So Joe calls me, "Oh, baby, that's a good idea. That's a good idea." And I went, "Well, that includes you too." And so that's been 9.5 years ago. And like I said, he'll grab his clothes and go, and I look at him and go, "Yeah, ain't nothing in the wash machine. Go for it." So that's what brought that on. That's what brought that on. So trying to make me seem like the bad guy.
No, I'm trying to make you seem like no bad guy.
Creates doubts about reality, suggesting that the partner is misremembering or imagining things. Example, "That never happened. Are you sure you're okay?" Oh yeah, that person in our lives, he'll say, "I never said that. That never happened." And I'm sitting there going, "Oh, Negro, I ain't stupid. And that happened." Yeah. Okay, you got something to say about that one?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a constant trying to make you feel stupid. Like, "Oh man, you didn't know that," or that.
Oh
attitude.
yeah, that you didn't know that.
You don't know how to do this. You didn't know that, and it's just
it's a tactic.
It's belittlement. Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Of your abilities to remember
That they're above you.
Yeah, to do things in an adequate way.
That you're inadequate.
Yeah, that you're inadequate. Yes. And that you always need their help. I told Miriam, I said, I got to the point now where I try not to go to that person. I try to figure things out on my own. It's because of the attitude that comes along with it.
Yeah.
It's like, why can't you just show me how to do something instead of preaching at me and trying to belittle me? Just say, "Hey, just show me." And then sometimes, the person in our family, this person, they would throw stuff on you. They'll tell you real quick.
And walk away.
Knowing that
you didn't get it.
And that you need step-by-step directions because it's something that you never done before.
But that's beneath them to help you.
Yes.
It's beneath them.
And so it's like, okay. So, but, that old saying, what goes around comes around. And so when people like that treat you like that, eventually they're going to have to come
to you and ask for help.
With something that they need.
Yeah.
Okay. But then they're not going to, they will get upset. Now.
If you treat them the way they treated you, they sure will.
If you treat them the way they treated you, and
they become, like we were talking about, they be blaming the victim. Yeah, they blame the victim. Okay, our last one is uses love as a weapon, making affection conditional or on compliance or submission. If you really love me, you trust me instead of questioning everything. I ain't never said no crap like that. No.
Now, Miriam has joked around and said, like I may say something, I may be joking and I say something that she don't like, especially if I say it we joking in front of relatives or friends, and she say, I remember that next time you want some.
I said that.
so she used that as a weapon. You're like, you're gonna be wanting something later. I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna remember that homeboy. She'll call me homeboy. I remember that homeboy. Now, when she calls me homeboy, that is not a good thing.
It ain't a good homeboy.
And it's not a good homeboy. When she calls me homeboy, I know I'm in the doghouse.
Oh God! Oh God! Every week we just get on here and tell all our freaking business. This is ridiculous. Okay, Joe.
Okay. Oh. Now we will listen to. Well, I said some audio clips, but it's just one audio clip of this video entitled "The Surprising Sign Someone Is Gaslighting You." Okay. So let me go ahead and play this clip. Now, it's like a 3-minute clip, but it's good. It has some good information.
In 1938, there was a play called Gaslight. In 1944, there was a film. And the basic premise of the play and the film was that there was a man who's basically trying to make his wife go mad. And back then, it was based at a time when instead of electric lights, there were these gas-powered lights, and you could turn them up and down. And he kept playing with the lights, these gas lamps. And she would say, he would turn the light down, and she'd say, who turned the light down? He said, the light's not any lower than it was before. And slowly but surely, she started losing her grip with reality because he kept denying that he was manipulating the lights. So that's where that term gaslighting comes from. And we retain the same meaning. It basically means to manipulate someone else's reality with techniques like denial, misdirection, contradiction, and lying. Anyone who's ever experienced gaslighting knows how confusing it can be. Because it's designed to make you doubt your own reality. And any break from reality is actually defined as psychosis. We can rather quickly find ourselves feeling like we're losing our minds. And we can't imagine that somebody who loves us would ever doubt our reality. Let me give you a sort of classical example of gaslighting. You're having a conversation with someone, and maybe it's over and over about the same thing. It's about your partner is sort of has this kind of inappropriate relationship with someone he or she works with, and then he says something to you like, like he or she, they dress and they were just really cute at work. Why don't you start dressing like that and wearing your hair like that? And as you can imagine, someone would be like, that doesn't feel good to hear that. And then the gaslighter will say, don't be so sensitive. So now all of a sudden, you've done nothing more than merely expressed a very real feeling in a situation. And someone's doubting your reality by saying, don't be so sensitive. Or other classic gaslighting lines include, you have no right to feel that way. Or, that never happened. Or, are you okay? Are you doing okay? Because you keep saying weird stuff. I'm starting to worry about you. All of these things are designed to make you doubt yourself. Gaslighting in that way is a tool of psychological control. The more you can question someone's reality, the more control you have over them.
All right. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, she said a mouthful. A lot of the things that we've already discussed. Mm-hmm. But I like for her to to say it. Her being a doctor, and I just like the way she explains things, because it just gives it so much more. She brings so much more understanding to whatever topic that you're talking about. Now, in that video, she went over what is gaslighting
And what is not.
and what is not gaslighting. Okay. And then let me see. Okay, so what is gaslighting? An example, like one example we've already used. I never said that. You must have memory problems.
That's a grooming process.
Yeah, it's a grooming process. That's what the gaslight is doing. They're grooming you. Okay. And the things that they use, which we already mentioned, is manipulation, emotional abuse, leaving you feeling mentally impaired or unwell. A tool to control. A tool to control you. Minimizing your emotions, doubting your commitment, acting as judge and jury on your emotions. Yes, this person that we talking about in our family, that's exactly what they do. Denying biases and arguing you. I'm sorry, accusing you of being brainwashed. Oh, I've heard that a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're just brainwashed.
You just brainwashed with this Christianity.
Yeah. There's been a lot of back and forth.
I don't even argue with them about it anymore. I just look at them and go, I love my Jesus, and I keep going.
You guys, you may be going through this with one of your children, and
or a close relative,
or a close
brother,
relative,
sister,
or a friend. Someone that maybe if it's a child, and if they grew up in a Christian home, you know they were trained up in the right way, and then there may even be some friends that you knew that you met in church, but then all of a sudden they had a change of heart, and that everything that they learned is now untrue. And if you try to tell them, talk to them about it, some of them will say, well, you've just been brainwashed. You just been brainwashed. And then a lot of the term that we hear a lot in the black community, oh, that's just a white man's religion. Talking about Christianity, that's just a white man's religion. And they use that to get people to go into becoming Muslims and
Black
Israelites and all this stuff, because of the gaslighting. And another thing that Dr. Ramani talked about was social gaslighting. Oh my goodness, we're dealing with that on big time. Social gaslighting, societal gaslighting, to where we saw a lot of it during the election. With all the racial stuff that's going on in the world, and how what they use, what the thing that we talked about,
I need a reference.
When you're talking about somebody's race, they use that to control people, and to separate people. I'm trying to think of the word. I can't think of it. But anyway, but it's a lot of gaslighting going on. Gaslighting. There was a lot of gaslighting within the African American community. And the world tried to manipulate and control African Americans, and maybe not just African Americans, but Americans period, into doing what they wanted them to do, to accept this
accept the facade.
Yeah, the facade. And this, to be honest with you, speaking from a Christian standpoint, this is what's gonna cause people to, people that have stood for Jesus for a long time, and these big name preachers.
Race baiting. Is that what you were talking
about?
Race baiting.
Yeah, but it's another term too.
Okay.
But anyway, but I just wanted to point out the point that gaslighting is being done on a wide scale, on a major scale in our society. Okay.
Okay, now let's talk about what gaslighting isn't, what it is not.
Okay. It is not the same thing as narcissism.
So you don't have to be a narcissist to gaslight, but all narcissists gaslight.
Yes, they do. They do.
Okay.
It's not just lying.
It's not just about sharing an opinion.
Yes. It's not anger.
It's not stalking. That's a whole nother thing. Psychological issue.
It's not a difference in beliefs.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay, self-gaslighting. When you have lived your life being gaslit, self-gaslighting is a byproduct of being in a narcissistic relationship where you have experienced gaslighting and the negative effects. They have become your own language, and it becomes a way to appease that narcissist just so you can avoid an argument, and you try to get ahead of the abuse. And the trap has become the tactic to use against you to dial down on the abuse. So 12 ways. This is the part I like the most, and I know we're going for a while now, but 12 ways to become more resistant to gaslighting. 1, learn your own truth.
Learn to own your own.
Learn to own your own truth and reality.
Yes.
Okay? When this person starts talking about you're brainwashed, you're Jesus this, you're Jesus that, you take your stand, and no matter what they say, this is what I believe, and you have the right to believe what you want to believe. 2, stop falling for it.
Yes, stop falling for his or her charismatic and charming ways.
Because the person in our family can be extremely charming. I mean, it's like, well, dang, if I didn't know you were being a jackass, I believe you. Because he's so smooth at times. And I can point back to times when he was little and I saw it. I remember one time he was 5 years old and he did something, and I literally fell on my knees and said, okay, God, you got to help him use this for good. Okay. Remember that being smart or educated is not a virtue. And this is a big one, because a narcissist who is extremely educated, who has bachelor's, master's, all these, or has just been extremely successful in life. They try to make it out that you're stupid because you have not achieved what they have, educationally or in your career, your vocation. You haven't achieved that. So you got to remember that is not a virtue. Wealth and success are not a virtue. Okay? And watch how they treat other people.
Yes.
I'm a firm believer. When I was growing up, and they still do say, watch how a man treats his mama.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be the way he treats you. So watch how he treats other people. Learn his tales, that person's tales. Like I was saying, the person in our life, when he gets a scratch in his head, that's a tale. We know a lie get ready to come. Okay? Become okay with setting boundaries. Like I said about this person in our life, when I see it coming, I just move out the way. A couple of weeks ago, this person was raising their voice at me. And I shut it down. And I even texted Joe after it happened. I said, unless you can speak to me without raising your voice at me, just don't speak to me. And I walked away because I meant it. Okay? Dump the enablers. Dump the enablers.
Yeah, the enablers are not necessarily the person that's gaslighting, but
That's true.
may have people around you that are
Enabling that person.
the gaslighter. They enabling him. Okay,
And I think we've been guilty of that. Yeah.
Him or her. They may be enabling the gaslighter, and they may not even realize that they're enabling the gaslighter, but they are. And so if you notice anyone like that in your circle, that they are enabling the bad behavior, then you may need to
shut
them down or dump them.
And that's one of the arguments that Joe and I have had. How far do we go with this person? Because y'all know me. I'm like, you can get the hell out.
Yeah.
But Joe is the more, no, we're going to work this out. And I'm like, okay, but I ain't taking it. Okay, stop giving second chances. That's what I was just talking about. Second, third, fourth, fifth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th chances. Surround yourself with good people. Surround yourself with good people. And that doesn't necessarily mean people that are going to say, oh, he gaslighting you. He's doing this. He's doing that. But good people to whom you can talk.
Yeah.
Okay. Start getting used to taking the less popular path. In other words, that goes back to establish your boundaries. This far and no further. And finally, have meaning and purpose to your life. That is so important, because a narcissist can really, no matter what you bring to the table, no matter what you do for them, they can make you feel like you are useless.
Yes.
That because you don't agree with them, that you're just stupid. And that you need to have your eyes open. No, baby, my eyes are wide open. You know, and it ain't nothing but the love of Jesus that makes me, that has us put up with things. So yeah, those are 12 ways to become more resistant. So let me just read those before we go. Learn to own your own truth and reality. 2, stop falling for his or her charismatic or charming ways. 3, remember being smart or educated is not a virtue. 4, wealth and success are not a virtue. 5, watch how they treat other people. 6, learn that narcissists' tails. 7, become okay with setting those boundaries. This far and no more. 8, dump the enablers. 9, stop giving second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 150,000 chances.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with good people. Start getting used to taking the less popular path, and have meaning and purpose to your life.
Amen. And I just feel like this topic today is going to free a lot of people from psychological abuse. Especially going through these 12 ways to become more resistant to gaslighting. Because I know that there are so many people that are being psychologically abused in relationships. Not just marriages, but relationship, period.
Whether it's brother or sister, boyfriend, girlfriend, mom, mom with child, husband with wife. Yeah, it comes in various ways.
And, once you can get out from under this.
Under that cloud.
Yes, a lot of weight. It's just you're gonna feel a lot of weight
taken off your shoulders.
Taken off of you. Because that's the way of the devil. The word, God says his yoke is easy and his burden is light. But the devil's always trying to do the opposite of what God does. Okay,
so he comes to kill, steal, and destroy.
And so the devil's yoke is not easy, and his burdens are heavy, and so he wants to weigh us down in life.
It's like the wages of sin.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the wages of sin is death. Yeah.
And so I hope this episode really blessed you. And if it did, please comment and share. And if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, go ahead on and subscribe to our channel. And until the next time.
Until the next time, y'all.
Have a blessed day.
Bye-bye.
This song is about being in a relationship with someone that's incredibly narcissistic. Gaslighting, lots of ups and downs, pushing and pulling. I'm walking